Hello, third grade. Mrs. Pecor here, back to read A Good Night for Ghosts by Mary Pope Osborne. Jack and Annie have met up with Dipper and they've helped him haul coal, and now they're going with him to his second job, boys and girls, of hauling bananas. He's only 14 and he has two jobs. That's kind of amazing. So let's read on and see what's going on in our book. Here we go. So here we go. Jack and Annie hurried with Dipper down to the loading dock on the riverfront. At least 50 workers were hauling huge loads of bananas out of the cargo hold of a ship. Wait here, Dipper told them. Dipper walked over to a man checking people into work. He pointed to Jack and Annie. The man shrugged, then nodded. Dipper waved for them to join him. Jack and Annie ran down to join Dipper and the other workers in the cargo hold. Dipper picked up a giant bunch of bananas. The bunch was almost as big as Annie. He hauled it onto his shoulder and then picked up another one. Grab a bunch of bananas and follow me, Dipper said. He headed to the counter where men in white suits were inspecting the banana bunches. No way either of us can pick up one of those bunches, Jack said to Annie. Let's try it together, Annie said. Annie hid their trumpet behind a large wooden box. Jack put his bag there, too. Jack and Annie loaded a bunch of bananas into their arms. They walked closely together, taking short, clumsy steps, following Dipper. They delivered the bunch to the inspectors, then hurried back to get another. As the sun sank toward the river, Jack, Annie, and Dipper hauled bananas back and forth between the cargo hold and the inspectors. They hauled bananas until it was almost dark. Jack was so tired he could hardly see straight. He was afraid Dipper would never call it quits. Last one, Dipper said finally. Yes, thought Jack. They grabbed their last loads. Suddenly, a large rat jumped out of the cargo hold. Dipper let out a scream. He dropped his bananas and took off running. Annie and Jack dropped their bananas too. Annie grabbed her trumpet, Jack grabbed his bag, and they ran after Dipper. Running like crazy, Dipper led Jack and Annie far from the loading area and the rat. When he finally stopped, Jack bumped into Dipper and Annie bumped into Jack. They all started laughing. Dipper laughed the hardest. He collapsed on the curb of Decanter Street and laughed so hard his whole body shook. Jack and Annie sat down next to him, laughing until they cried. Finally, they all managed to calm down. I know I said I wasn't afraid of anything, Dipper said breathlessly, but I lied. I'm afraid of one thing, rats. Rats give me the heebie-jeebies. Yeah, said Annie, catching her breath. I know how you feel. Spiders give me the heebie-jeebies. Yeah, said Jack, panting. Yeah, actually, ghosts give 'em to me. That's cool, man, said Dipper. Between the three of us, we got all the scaredy stuff covered. That made them all start laughing again. As the twilight deepened, they sat on the curb, catching their breath. They laughed now and then, out of relief and friendship. Then Dipper stood up. Before we part ways, I better get our pay from the boss. Hold on. Jack and Annie kept sitting on the curb as Dipper ran back down the dock. Part ways? We can't part ways yet, said Jack. I know, said Annie. We haven't even begun to accomplish our mission. Umbrella! Buy an umbrella! A man shouted as he walked by. He carried a load of umbrellas on his back. Storms a coming, big storm coming for the eve of all saints. Oh, no, now a storm's coming, said Jack. He was confused about what they should do next. A moment later, Dipper returned. 30 cents, he said. We each get 10. No, Dipper, said Annie. Please use it to take care of your family. Yeah, do that, said Jack. We insist, said Annie. Dipper smiled. Oh, you do you? Why, what's this game you're all playing? It's no game, said Jack. We're just a couple of potato heads, said Annie. Get used to it. Well, then, you two potato heads, let me give you something else, said Dipper. Come along with me. Great, said Jack. They weren't parting ways yet. He and Annie jumped up from the curb and bounded off with Dipper. Chapter 6. Find Me at the Greasy Spoon. Street lamps were coming on as Jack, Annie, and Dipper walked away from Jackson Square. When they came to Bourbon Street, vendors walked the sidewalks calling out, ice cream, lemon pie, ham biscuits. Sounds good, said Annie. There seems to be lots of good food in New Orleans. Best in the world, said Dipper. People were sitting outside dance halls and restaurants, laughing and talking, eating and drinking. Outside and inside, musicians were blaring away on their instruments. "Hey, there's Dipper! Sing something for us, Dipper!" the ice cream lady yelled. Dipper waved and kept going. "Hey, girl, can you play that trumpet?" a man called to Annie. "Not till the time's right," Annie shouted. "When's that?" the man asked. "She'll know it when she feels it," Dipper shouted. At the end of the block, under a street lamp, a trio was singing in harmony. It was Little Mac, Happy, and Big Nose Sydney. "Look, Dipper, it's your friends again," said Annie. "I see 'em," said Dipper, but he ignored the three boys and crossed the street. Dipper led Jack and Annie down a narrow alleyway to the back of a shabby, run-down building. Good cooking smells came from inside. "Y'all wait for me outside this greasy spoon," he said, and he slipped in through the back door. "What's a greasy spoon?" asked Annie. "Smells like it must be a restaurant," said Jack. Annie put down the trumpet. Jack put down his bag. They sat on the back steps of the greasy spoon. While they waited in the muggy twilight for Dipper, Jack wiped his forehead. He was starving and ached all over. Soon, Dipper pushed open the back door with his foot. He was carrying a big bowl and a tall glass. "I got us some gumbo stew and lemonade to share," he said. "Talk about good." "Oh, man, thanks," breathed Jack. Dipper sat between Jack and Annie on the steps. He pulled spoons out of his pocket for each of them. "Dig in, y'all," he said. Together, the three of them tackled the gumbo stew. They all ate their fill of the spicy chicken, ham, tomatoes, orca, onions, and rice. When the bowl was empty, they shared the tall glass of lemonade. Then they sat back on the steps and heaved big sighs. Jack felt stuffed and happy. "Mighty fine." Oops, sorry, boys and girls. Trying to get that centered there. Breathed Dipper. "Mighty fine," echoed Jack. "Mighty fine," said Annie. "Nothing tastes as good as gumbo after a hard day's work," said Dipper. He stood up. "Well, I have to leave y'all now. Thanks a million for your help today. And don't forget to thank Teddy and Kathleen for sending y'all to find me." Before Jack and Annie could stop him, Dipper climbed down the steps and vanished into the dark. "Dipper!" called Jack. There was no answer. "He's gone again," said Annie. "And we totally failed in our mission for Merlin," said Jack. "We didn't help Dipper get on the right path to give his gifts to the world." "I know, we have to find him. Come on," said Annie. She hopped up and headed after Dipper. "Wait, the trumpet," said Jack. He grabbed the magic trumpet in his bag and followed her. When Jack left the step, it was too dark for him to see where Annie had gone. Thunder rumbled in the distance. The air felt heavy and thick, as if the storm were about to break at any moment. "Annie!" Jack called. "Here!" Annie called back from the front of the restaurant. Jack joined her. Together they peeked through a window that looked into a large kitchen. Dipper was alone, washing a mountain of dishes. "Why is he doing that?" whispered Jack. "Hey, Dipper," said Annie. Dipper turned and smiled. "You caught me," he said. He looked embarrassed. "Why are you washing the dishes?" asked Annie. Dipper shrugged. "Gotta pay for our dinner somehow," he said. "We'll help you," said Annie. "We love washing dishes," said Jack. Dipper laughed. "Come on in, potato heads," he said. "I could use some help." Jack and Annie slipped through a side door into the hot, steamy kitchen. Jack put his bag and the trumpet. He and Annie picked up dirty plates from the counter. They began scraping leftovers into a garbage pail. They scraped fish heads, oyster shells, crab legs, shrimp tails, chicken bones, grease, and gravy off dozens of plates. The work was messy and smelly, but Jack and Annie worked hard to keep up with Dipper. Every time he took a plate from them, he smiled and said, "Thank you." He never frowned or complained or seemed tired. "Dipper," Annie said while they worked, "your life seems really hard. How do you stay so cheerful?" "Why not? It's more fun to be cheerful than sad," he said. "Don't you ever feel like getting mad or complaining about stuff?" said Jack. "Sure I do. I'm human," said Dipper. "I feel all kinds of things. All day long I feel things. You could say I have a rich life. I might not get to have everything, but I get to feel everything." He laughed. "I'm the same way," said Annie. "I thought so," said Dipper. "That's why I sure would like to hear you play that trumpet sometime." "Maybe you will," said Annie. By the time they finished washing dishes, rain was falling outside. "Where to now?" said Jack. "One more treat for y'all," said Dipper. "Let's leave this greasy spoon and head back down to the river cafe for dessert. Come on." "We better not," said Jack. "The waiters there don't like us." "Don't worry about them," said Dipper. "You're with me now." Jack and Annie followed Dipper outside into the rain. The wind was blowing harder now. "Uh-oh," said Dipper. "Here comes a storm. Let's hurry." Thunder cracked and rain began to pour down. The three of them got soaked as they hurried through the alley back to Bourbon Street. The street was empty now. Partygoers and street musicians had fled the storm. The restaurants and cafes had taken their chairs and tables inside. Lightning lit the sky, and thunder shook the ground. The wind was blowing hard, picking up sticks and leaves and trash. "We have to find cover," said Dipper. "Run!" He and Jack and Annie bowed their heads against the downpour and ran up Bourbon Street. "Dipper, over here, man!" someone yelled. It was Little Mac. Little Mac, Happy, and Big Nose Sydney were waving to Dipper from the doorway of a dark building on the corner. Dipper, Jack, and Annie ran across the street through the pounding rain. "Get over here, out of the street!" shouted Little Mac, "before you get hit by lightning." "Thanks, fellas," said Dipper. Soaking wet, Jack, Annie, Dipper, Little Mac, Happy, and Big Nose Sydney all crowded together just inside the dark building, looking out at the storm. "Who lives here?" asked Dipper. "Nobody. It's been empty for years," said Happy. "Used to be a blacksmith shop," said Little Mac. "Lafayette's blacksmith shop?" said Jack. He immediately stepped out of the shop and stood under the eaves. "Yeah, what's wrong with that?" asked Little Mac. "We read this place is haunted," said Annie. "Y'all believe in ghosts?" said Little Mac. "No, not really," said Jack. "But I thought you said they gave you the started Dipper. No, I was kidding," said Jack quickly. He didn't want Dipper's friends to know he was afraid of ghosts. Lightning split the sky again. Another crash of thunder shattered the night. The wind blew so hard that shingles blew off the roof across the street and crashed into the sidewalk. "Whoa, come inside, man. We gotta close the door," Dipper said to Jack. "Hold on," said Little Mac. "We have to go." "We do?" said Happy. Little Mac whispered something to Happy and Big Nose Sydney. "Yeah, he's right," said Happy. "We have to leave. See y'all later." "Y'all too scared to stay here, aren't you?" said Dipper. "No, man, we forgot we have an important gig to play," said a Big Nose Sydney. "Oh, suddenly y'all have an important gig. I see," said Dipper. "Yeah, we have to try and make it through the storm. See y'all. Come on, fellas," said Little Mac. The three boys hurried out of the blacksmith shop and turned the corner. "They left 'cause they're scaredy cats," said Dipper, chuckling. "Yeah," said Jack, "scaredy cats." Thunder cracked the sky again, the loudest crack so far. It seemed to shake the whole block. Roof shingles flew through the air. "Come back inside," said Dipper. "It's dangerous out there." Jack took a deep breath and stepped back into Lafayette's blacksmith shop. All right, boys and girls, we're going to stop there, so stay tuned. Oh, sorry, you don't want to see my hand there. Stay tuned tomorrow for our next chapter. Bye-bye.